as you probably noticed, the topic today is craft. Every month we have a different theme that is chosen by Creative Mornings chapter from around the world. And our June theme of craft was chosen by our friends in the Creative Mornings Mumbai chapter. And now we have Mari Norden, who's a fashion designer, textile printer, and artist, who's going to give us a little speak about craft. Give her a round of applause and welcome her to the stage.
Jeg heter Mari Norden, og jeg er klesdesigner og driver tekstiltrykkerifabrikk. Jeg er opptatt av at klærne skal lages på en viss måte, at det er en prosess som gir en verdi. Da jeg studerte i London ble jeg veldig opptatt av at alle prosessene i klesproduksjonen skulle være så originale som mulig, så avgangskolleksjonen min bestod bare av tekstiler som jeg hadde håndfarget og silketrykket. Etter det så har jeg egentlig bare fortsatt med å spesialisere meg i håndfarging og silketrykking av spesielt ull og silke. Jeg bruker mye farger, jeg synes svart er dølt. Jeg vet ikke hvorfor jeg er så glad i farger, det er vel bare fordi jeg er så spennende og har en spennende personlighet. Hello everyone, I'm Mari Norden, som heter på norsk. For you who didn't understand the Norwegian speak or the Norwegian text that was in the film, I was just explaining a little bit how I'm very taken by process and also that I'm above average interested in colors. Craft is, according to Wikipedia, an activity involving skill in making things by hand. I'm not here to lecture you about craft and what craft is. I'm here to talk about the amazing world of silkscreen printing, which is what I love doing. Has anyone done silkscreen printing before? Yes, a couple. That's great. I think one of the hardest things that I do is trying to explain to someone what silkscreen printing is. Because it's not like, oh yeah, I scratched something into a potato and pressed it onto fabric. It's much more of a process beforehand. I'm going to try to explain how you do it. So you have a screen or the frame, and it's covered in a thin sheet of mesh, which is like, you know, a weave, tiny little dots in it. You cover it, the first thing you do is cover it with emulsion, which is a photosensitive liquid, that blue goo that you put on the whole screen. And then you place that in the dark for quite some time, and when you're ready, when the screen's ready, you place it onto your light box. Here you have a beautiful design by Renata. She handed this on thin sheets of plastic. You place the screen on top of this, close the box, and then you light it for a couple of minutes. And then when it's finished, you just rinse the screen, and whatever was black on your drawing just rinses off. It's pure magic. It really is. Then you can mix your color, press it through your screen, press the ink through the screen, and voila, you have a beautiful print. And you can cut it and sew it, and you have a nice little jumper. That's how easy it is to make clothing. Silkscreen printing is one of the oldest ways to print. It was made up in China. And I think one of the things that really interests me in silkscreen printing is the contrast between the mass production aspect of it and the fine arts printing. You know, you can do 100,000 Levi's t-shirts or you can print like Andy Warhol did in the 60s. It's quite a price difference between these two pieces, but it's technically the same technique. The same with Chris Wagner, he also does silkscreen printing. Probably not himself, but his work is silkscreen printed. So yeah, when it comes to my work, I'm very taken by process. Nice pictures of them there over there. In my work, I like to these. None of these are dyed, but they're all printed. Even the wedding dress has white print on it. Can't really see it. But yeah, I think it started when I studied in London. I was very astonished by learning about how much crap there is made in the world, and how much the textile industry produces. It's so much pollution, so much crap. And I kind of just decided that that's not the way I want to go. I want to make something that at least brings value to myself and to my self-worth, and hopefully that could also be, transferred onto the beliefs of others. Most of what I do, I tend to draw the prints myself, except from when Renata is doing it. So I usually draw the print by hand, and then I scan it onto the computer. I trace it, and then I get it onto a silk screen, and I print it, and then I sew it. So it's a very long process, and people ask why can't you just make white t-shirts that sells? Why don't you just do that? I don't think I don't think the world needs more white t-shirts. When I did the research for this presentation, I got really excited, because when I read through the pages of the definition of craft and arts and crafts movement and the means of production and all of these things, I kind of got reminded why I started doing this in the first place. And I got reminded of this quote by William Morris, which I found when I did art history in school. And it says, have nothing in your house that you do not know to be useful or believe to be beautiful. And that, I think that's one of the things that made, what I'm doing today. He built his own house. He designed and made furniture, rugs, curtains, everything. He even designed and made his wife's clothing, just so he could have beautiful things around him. So life goals, guys. So I studied in London. Lived there for 3 years. Then I moved to Amsterdam. Lived there for 3 years as well, which both are places where there's a lot of good silkscreen facilities, open source. You can just go there, rent a space. But then I moved to Oslo. So, Oslo. And after half a year or something looking, if you don't go to Kiel, the Arts Academy, you don't have a chance. But then I found Fellesverkstedet, which is a great place. You should all check it out. I set up a very DIY silkscreen facility there. Produced a bit, and a year ago they closed. They didn't close forever though. They're just moving to a new facility in Grünerløkka, but it takes time because they're building it from scratch, almost. So, sad. I couldn't print. I was back at square one, like, what am I doing with my life when I can't print? Why am I doing what I do if I can't print? Money. How do I earn money? Lots of sad faces. But then I decided to open my own print shop. If I'm looking for it, like, there are several arts academies, and also, what have they been doing after school? Where are all the artists? Are they just, deciding I'm not going to do arts anymore? Well, anyway, at Fabrik, you can come and rent a space. You can rent your own. You can rent the tables and all the equipment and use it for a day or for a project. And you can come and do workshops. We have lots of workshops. Or you can, get us to print for you. That's also possible. I think one of the things that I like the most about starting Fabrik is all the feedback that I've been getting since we opened in October last year, and since then we've just gotten loads of good feedback, had loads of good people in doing printing. We've done lots of printing for fashion companies, for NRK, for ties, for lots of cool cool things that want to do stuff in Norway. And people, there's a huge feeling in Oslo at the moment, I think, that people want to collaborate, people want to start up new things, people want to do stuff. And I think, that's very positive for Fabrik and for the city of Oslo. And I think, as well as people want to collaborate, people also want to do things by hand. I think we spend way too much time on the computer, on the internet. Internet is great, I'm not going to diss internet because it's great to say. But I think, it brings happiness, printing, and it brings, it brings community, it brings value to your life, and we should all get into printing. So yeah, thank you for listening to me. If you have any questions, please ask.